Hello guys, I am back once again bringing you a treasure scramble guide. Now, I thought I would make a treasure scramble guide because I get a lot of questions, or not a lot of questions, but some questions regarding treasure scramble and how I set up my teams. So I thought I might as well share my teams with you guys. And I'll also share where you can find teams if you can't build the teams that I have. I'll show a guide that I found, and I'll also go over the crowdsourcing Discord where you can find teams for every round. Now, notably, Treasure Scramble rotates between three different types. There's frozen, there's grass, and then there's fire. This is the fire round, and these are my teams. Now, I have two Awakened Heroes built. I have Awakened Solus build, and I have Awakened Belinda build. And as you can see, these teams are actually faring really well. I am rank 93 on the ladder. I suspect I'll drop once we get to the 7 teams, but I'll get to that. And these are my teams. So if you just came here to see my teams, you can pause the video and screenshot them. But I'll go over what these teams actually are based on in a guide, as you can see here. This team might work if you had built Brutus, but I just couldn't figure anything out. And 24% is not that bad for like a throwaway team. But anyways, like this is a very important game mode actually, because the rewards in here are really good. You see, if I could stay top 100, I could get such juicy rewards here with the time gazers, which is like anytime you can get time gazers as a free-to-play player, this is the cream of the crop. Like, this is what you want. But I do realize that I'm making this guide like at the end of the season. I'm thinking of doing this weekly, so I'll have like 2 guides during each seasons, so you can see like what my teams are at, where I'll also like kind of go through the different guides, because not everyone's gonna have my heroes build, as I said. Okay, so these are my teams. This is the ones that I'm using to get to this point. Once we get to 7 teams, I will probably drop down to 1 or 2%. But if we look at the guide that I based my teams upon, this is what I based it upon. So immediately, your eyes probably can see that this is in Chinese. I've said this before, but any guide in Chinese is exactly what you want. The Chinese guides are always the best. And this is a pretty self-explanatory guide. I don't read Chinese, so I have no idea what it says. But as you can see, 2 teams, 3 teams, 4 teams, 5 teams, 6 teams, and 7 teams. So for me, I looked at what teams could I build. For example, I don't have Baden. Okay, but I could replace Baden with Lucretia maybe and make this team work. And here, like, I'm missing this guy, Awakened Thane, so I put in Yorin instead, because he's kind of like an invade burst hero that fits in this theme. And that's kind of how I operated, right? I looked at the teams, like for example, this team I have no chance of building. Like, I don't have Brutus, don't have Taylene, don't have Frampton. I don't know what I should do here, but I can make this team, for example, and I can kind of make this team. I'll just throw in some tanks instead of these 2, right? So this is like a decent place to look for like team ideas, these kinds of guides. Especially here, like, can I build any of this? If not, can I like maybe make some of these teams kind of work with different heroes? Try your like just basically trial and error. But as good as this guide is, I think the best guide that I can give you guys, or the best help that I can give you guys, because everyone has different heroes built, right? Like, for me, like, I went for some Awakened Heroes, I went for some Celestial and Hypergeans. Like, it's very individual. So for the most general guide I can give you, we'll go over to the Crowdsourcing Discord here. And as you can see, they have a Treasure Scramble tab where you can get the different guides. So right now we are in the fire rotation. As I spoke of the 3 rotations, we're in the fire rotation. And as you can see here, this chat is filled with people just posting their teams, right? Look at all these teams, all these people, all their teams, as you can see, like, we have some strong, like, this guy is really strong, like 0, highly built account, but not everyone has very strong accounts. For example, here you can see, okay, I have Brutus. Well, this team is not doing too well, so I probably wouldn't copy this. But basically, you can go through here and pick and choose like what teams you're gonna build. This is a very good resource, I think, because like, finding a guide and trying to make your own teams is good. But if you can see something that's just working for other people, there's no shame in just copying it and making that work for yourself. So I think the best guide that I can give to Treasure Scramble is just go to the Crowdsourcing Discord and look through the guides, right? There's also a chat where you can ask questions. So maybe I'm like, oh, I don't have Brutus, but like, can I replace him with XYZ? And then some experienced players would be able to answer your questions here. And as you can see, they have it for all the different rotations, right? Because different rotations have different buffs, I guess, which makes different teams better in the different rotations. So you can't just, okay, so I found some teams in the fire rotation. Fine, I'll put these teams in every time and I'll see what happens. No, because in the forest rotation, different teams become better. So yeah, TLDR, you can look at my teams, right? You can kind of look at my teams and see, okay, maybe I can kind of copy some of these teams. You can look at this guide, and you can look at the 7 team tab is what I like to look at, and just, can I build any of these teams? Because these are probably bound to be pretty good teams since it's in Chinese, right? And then lastly, I'd look at this, right? Can I build, any of these teams that any of these people are using and make them work for my account? So that's pretty much it for my Treasure Scramble guide, I guess you could call it. But it's more like a weekly update, so to speak. Because I expect to do these weekly. Because the rewards for Treasure Scrambles are so good, and I feel like you guys shouldn't be missing out on those as you're free to play. Because, when it first came out, Treasure Scramble, I was like, well, I'm not building Thanes. I don't even want to think about it. But then, like, you can't really ignore this. Like, this is, I mean, these rewards they're better than Cursed Realm rewards for free to play. Like, to get this in Cursed Realm, you would have to rank really highly, and you get so many things you want here, like cores, chests, baits, like pretty much everything you would ever want you can get in here. So that's it for my guide. I'm sorry it's late. I realized that the season ends very soon, but I'll try and make them in better time next time. I just thought I would make one, so I could start a cycle of making these guides weekly. So anyways, that's it. Have a good day.